Hi and welcome back to the Project 7890. In this episode we're talking about suspension that I've modified on my bike. This bike, as you may or may not know, is a 2019 790 Adventure. It has numerous modifications which we've detailed through this series of episodes. If you haven't seen this series of episodes, click on this link up here and that'll take you back to a playlist where you can watch them all. This bike's also had an engine swap. There's an 890 Duke R engine in it. If you want to see that engine swap, click up here now. And that'll take you to the playlist that details all the details of that and how we got it done in the end. But in this episode, we're concentrating on the suspension changes I've made, why I've made them, and how they feel. Okay, just to give you some background into the bike, obviously the bike came standard with Apex suspension, 200mm of travel. On the forks, there's non-adjustable cartridges, which are basically an oil bath cartridge. Where that means that the cartridge is inside the fork in a bath of oil at the bottom of the fork, and as it compresses it squeezes the oil up through the cartridge, and that's what controls your damping, both rebound and compression. No adjustment, no preload, no nothing. It's as you get it from the factory, and to be fair, it was fine. Once it got taken off road, I did notice the limitations of it. If you braked harshly, it would dive. If you hit a rough patch, it would pack up a little bit. So you needed a bit more control of it, and that's when I came back from that trip, I decided that the next upgrade I was going to do to my forks was going to be an internal cartridge. How I went to make a decision on that, I'll go through in a moment. The Apex rear shock that comes on the 790, again 200mm travel at the rear, preload only adjustment, no manual preload, had to be done with a ring spanner. Not the most refined shock there's going, but did the job again. But unfortunately this one blew after 2 days of TET in Spain, and I had to basically not cut a trip short, but I ended up riding mostly tarmac towards the latter half of that trip, and I couldn't get a replacement shock sent out in time. So I can maybe go through the story of what happened with that shock, but first we'll go back to the forks. So, I just happened to have a set I prepared earlier. This is a set of forks that came originally on the bike. I was involved in a road traffic accident, or collision as they call them these days, and these were deemed maybe not fit to go back on the bike. However, I don't know if it was a precautionary thing. I've not had them checked, but I've kept them for spares in case you ever need an upper tube or a lower tube that's maybe not bent. It looks fairly straight to me, or I need a fork leg, and as you can see there's a little bit of damage there. But these are radial mounted brakes, 43mm stanchions, SKF seals on them from the factory, and a decent fork. It worked well. However, as I say, a little bit harsh in the rough stuff, but did the job okay. So I've got a cartridge here actually for you that came out of my other forks. So let me just show you what's actually inside these. Unfortunately, I can't get what I replaced it out because it's a bit of an awkward job. These are the Apex cartridges. As you can tell, just a damping rod, a couple of holes at the bottom and the top to move the oil about. I know you can hear it. You can hear it's pumping the air through there. This bit's plastic. Obviously there's a spring shrouding this, so that slides up and down inside the spring. Boom, boom, that's done. No adjustment, and all you can do is change the weight of the oil and change the spring to modify it to suit yourself. So not really very adjustable. What I did go for in the end was the Andreani rally cartridges. They are a direct replacement for the standard AP or WP cartridges, and they have independent rebound and compression on the left and right legs. They also have preload, so there's a lot more adjustability in them, and they are also an open bath cartridge, so the oil sits in the actual fork and is passed through the cartridge. You can get closed cartridges from the likes of Tractive. The decision I went for the open cartridges was that for ease of servicing I didn't have to send the forks away, although I probably will with these, to be honest. Don't want to get my hands dirty. The fact that the cartridges are a charged gas cartridge, it means that they're kind of not really equipped for home servicing, so therefore the only oil that's in it is really for lubrication. The oil doesn't pass through the cartridge that's in the fork, and therefore to change your oil it's easier to do it on an open cartridge. That's one of the reasons why I went for the open cartridge system. I'll get some close-ups with the phone now, just give you an idea of what they look like. From the outside there's very little difference. Okay, so we're onto the forks here. So as you can see, the top of the forks is a lot different from the standard fork, which is obviously here, no adjustments, whereas on the Andreani rally cartridges you can see there the top cap is quite a piece of meat. They're nicely finished. labelled with rebound. If I can get zoomed in here on my camera. So you can see this is the right leg. So this has got rebound and obviously preload. So preload's the big nut on the outside. The rebound is on the inside. It's a 3mm Allen key and it's easily reached from above if it wasn't for the bark busters. And again, you've got a bleed valve there as well. Pins for the spanner to get the top cap off. And it's the same on the compression side. You've got nicely laid out there, and again, just the same setup, except that side's compression. So that just gives you an idea of what they're like fitted. You hardly even notice they're there. Obviously, TW have put their sticker kit on it, and you know there's been something tweaked on it because it's been done. The bike rides really well, road on and off-road. Suspension's never worried me at all since I've had it done. Really, really good. I've put some pictures up, the internals, so you can see that they look like a goldy kind of cartridge colour. Not that you'll ever see that, but it just gives you an idea that Andreani are quite a well-respected Italian company throughout motocross, mountain bikes. That gives you an idea of what they can do for you. That's the cartridges in the forks, just showing you around what's been done. They were all fitted by TW Suspension down in Preston. They were really good. The chap that owns it talked me through all the changes and what he could do for me. So the forks went off to him. He fitted them for me, set them up for my weight and the way I ride the bike, and they've come back. And to be honest, they've been faultless since. Setup wise was quite easy. I just basically set everything to the middle setting, i.e. there's 4 full turns, so I just went back half, 2 full turns, and then rode it and got to the stage where I felt, right, that's happy. So it's had a tweak here and there. I've got it written down somewhere, but everybody's different. I've kind of set it up to the way I like it, and it seems to ride fine. It's got a really good platform on braking on the road and off-road. If you pull the brake, there's very little dive. It seems to just nicely firm up on you, especially with the compression as well. There is no high speed, low speed, it's just compression, so it's just whatever it ramps up at. It does seem to take the hits quite well, so I've hit some choppy stuff fairly fast and it works well. So I'm really pleased with the way the cartridges have turned out, and to be honest, the forks have been faultless since I've got them done. Let me just move these out of the way. The rear shock, as I mentioned earlier on, blew a seal in fact, you can probably still see the oil on it. If I put that up to you, you can still see the bump stops, pretty manky, and there's quite a lot of oil lying on it. At the time, when I went to a dealer in Portugal, they told me that these were a non-serviceable item. I couldn't get a replacement. KTM had none in stock, so we couldn't get one shipped out. So what I tried to do was get a shock, a K-Tech shock shipped from the UK. Unfortunately, it didn't turn up in time, so I had to abandon it, give it up as a bad job, and ride home on a pogo stick. So that got me the motivation to change the shock. The KTM shocks are pretty expensive. They're probably circa £800, £900 retail at the time. Last time I looked. And as I said, nobody's told me I could service these yet, although I've never checked because I went straight in and bought an aftermarket one. This was one I got off eBay. Allegedly, it's only done 1,500 miles on a 790. And it cost me 69 quid. So that was a good bargain, but however, I still wanted the performance of an adjustable shock. So that's when I went and started finding out about what I can get for the 790. So the 790, when it comes to rear shock, at the time, there was a pretty limited choice. You had maybe a Hyper Pro with a remote reservoir on a hose. You had obviously the WP options, which are hell of expensive when you look into it. Especially if you're going to go for an Explorer rear with a with a shortened shaft on it, so it could maintain the ride height. But that's really what I was looking for. I was looking to maintain the ride height. Didn't want a taller bike. I wanted to have good shock performance. So it really only brought me down to one option, and that was Tractive. So this is fitted with a Tractive shock. I'll get you some phone shots in a minute and show you around it what it does. But basically, it's piggyback reservoir. It's got high low speed compression, and it's got a rebound as well as remote preload, so you can dial the preload in as well. Really, really nice shock. And for those of you who are wondering about the history of Tractive, if you go onto Tractive's website, you can read about the history and where they came from. But basically, there's a reason they're probably orange anodized. WP which was white power suspension, Wimpeters, if you want to be correct. Obviously, were bought out by KTM in the early 2000s, or I think it was actually the latter half of the last century. God, that sounds so old. They then basically took the company to Austria to be in Matterhofen alongside the main factory, and the guys who didn't want to move basically set up Tractive suspension. So the technology in there is from the start of white power WP suspension, so it's all very closely related. This shock is quite expensive. However, when you compare it to the price of a standard KTM Apex shock, it was kind of reasonably acceptable to upgrade. So that's why I went for it. But I'll take you through to it and just show you a quick shot of it in the bike with the phone. Okay, going on to the rear shock. I'll see if I can get in amongst the bracketry here that holds the thing. This is the Tractive shock. You can see there the preload handle. And if you look in, you'll be able to see the dials and the reservoir, which is tucked in there. I'll go around the other side and actually have a look. But as you can see, it has the white spring, which is synonymous with white power and WP suspension, to be honest. That's where it, I believe it came from. And you can see that it's got the collar on the shaft there. So everything is really tidy, really well finished. And don't forget, this has done a few winters with salt and all sorts on the road. You can still see there's a wee bit of dirt in from the weekend when I was out, but you can see there as you go up in, and you can see how well finished the barrel is. The adjusters all lovely black anodized, and you can just about see the adjusters there tucked in behind the frame, and that's your high and low speed compression. Rebound is pretty simple to get at. It is at the top of the rear mount. The newer shocks have the rebound on this side, and they've obviously moved it around. I think that's probably because that gets covered in dirt a lot, but as you can see, if I can squeeze in there, it's looking in pretty good nick, considering it's been on the bike two and a half years now, almost nearly 3 years. So this shock is, I think it's called the Tractive X-Treme. It's proper standard fit for the KTM 790 Adventure S model. You can get longer versions and shorter versions. So if you want to lower your bike, you can get I think I've seen minus 25 mil. So you can drop this down to like an 805 seat height on a 790 Adventure, or an 815 if you've got the new style seat on the latest models of the 890. So it gives you a few options, and also you can get replacements for the Adventure R as well. So you can basically get this up to Adventure R spec height-wise if you wanted to, because as if anybody knows, that the Adventure R forks are straight fit into these crowns as well, so everything fits. So that's really it from a suspension point of view. If you need to know anything or want to ask any questions, put something in the comment. I'm quite happy to answer them. I didn't get a chance to try the K-Tech suspension, but that would have been sort of probably my first choice if the K-Tech had arrived in Portugal when I was out there. But I ended up with a Tractive, and I've been very, very happy with it. Okay, guys, thanks again for clicking on the video. That's it briefly for what I've done to the suspension to the bike. There's not really much to it. It's bolted on. It's a single pivot rear end on it. There's no complicated linkage. It bolts straight in. The tuners can set up your shock to your weight. If you're taking a load, when you think about it, these bikes are probably taking circa 220 plus 80 plus 20, so they're probably taking about 320 kilograms through the forks on sprung weight. It just gives you an idea of how robust these forks have to be. After coming from a mountain biking background where I've been racing downhill for a few years, I've been always interested in compression and rebound and how to control the speed of the fork. So that's something which obviously, that's where my head's at when I'm riding. I can feel certain things on the bike when you're off-road. The forks on this or the suspension on any of these bikes is always going to be a compromise because of that weight. So you've got to really think about how you're going to go about doing it. And if you are riding off-road, then you've also got to consider the bit when you're on the road. Because one, you want it to be safe, and you don't want it to be bottoming out with like quite light, soft, plush suspension. You want it probably a bit firmer so you can hand hit stuff hard. You know, that kind of high-speed compression working through, especially the rear shock when you maybe going light on the front through stuff. But I've had no problems with this riding some rocky stuff. The biggest limitation has always been the rider, not the bike. And I've got it to a stage now where I'm confident that, you know, no matter what where I go to, the bike will not be the problem. It'll always be me. So there you have it. So I think that kind of finishes the series on the modifications. The bike has now done, on this engine swap, about 650 miles. The next plans for the bike will be just like kind of a few checks on it. Plan to do some oil changes. I might even do an oil analysis just to see if there's anything going on inside the engine. So that might be quite interesting to stick around and see what I do with that. I also have a clutch pack to fit to it. So there's stuff I want to do to the bike. I also want to get rid of some of the anodizing stuff. This oil cap is a pain to get out and things like that. So maybe in the next video I'll do some servicing when we strip the bike again, tank off kind of thing, and have a look around it. I want to check in case there's any oil leaks as well. Although the oil level has not shifted since the bike's been built. So that's probably the next thing. So over the next few weeks I'll try and get a service done on it. I've also got to get the dyno organised, and I'm going to try and get out and ride a bit more. But the weather's just a bit topsy-turvy at the minute. It's not great weather. I was out last week for a quick run, but I didn't video anything. I'm still trying to get the bike kind of running almost. So that'll be the next thing I'll be doing. So if you've enjoyed this video, stick around. We'll maybe see you on the next one. Thanks now. Over and out.